Are you learning English? Are you taking an English speaking exam? If yes, keep watching. In this video, you're going to learn how to prepare for your English speaking exam and how to get the best possible result, the result that you deserve. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Alistair. I'm a CELTA qualified English language teacher and I've been helping hundreds of English students prepare for a variety of exams since 2016. On this channel, you'll find all kinds of tips, lessons and advice about learning English. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Often it's the speaking part that most students are nervous about. So in this video, we're going to look at 19 tips. Yes, 19 tips about how to best prepare for your speaking exam and one bonus tip at the end. You'll hear practical advice from both students and teachers, so make sure you keep watching to hear what real people taking exams and marking exams have to say. As Balazs, a former student of mine, said about English, it's one of the most rewarding languages to speak. Most of the world use it. By the way, this video is not for any specific English examination. It takes a general look and applies to all of the following: IELTS, language certificate, CAE, Cambridge exams, TOEFL, and any other English in-house exams, basically. Here are 4 types of tasks that you may be asked to complete during your English speaking exam. Number 1, role play. Here you have to role play a situation with the examiner or perhaps with another candidate, either speaking first or speaking second. For example, I'm your boss. I start. Will you need someone to help you with the project? Another example, I'm your friend. I've been waiting for you for 20 minutes and you start. Improvisation is really important here, and it is expected that both people will maybe speak 2 or 3 times. Number 2, discussion with some sort of picture to guide your thoughts. Here you have to have a discussion, again with the examiner or another candidate, usually to reach some form of agreement. For example, let's ask and answer some questions that will help us decide which forms of communication will still be popular in 50 years' time. Second example, we've been asked to rank a list of suggestions for overcoming stress. Let's discuss these ideas and try and agree on an order of helpfulness. Number 3, an introduction and interview with personal questions. This is normally at the start of the examination and includes easier, common types of questions. You'll be told the topic and then answer the question, kind of like an interview. For example, in the topic of watching films, what type of films do you like best? On the topic of money management, what strategies do you think are best for managing your money? Section 4. Monologue and follow-up questions. In this section, you have to speak by yourself about one topic for a period of time. You'll be given paper to help you prepare, and after the monologue, the examiner will give you a series of follow-up questions about the same topic. For example, the monologue is about your favorite holiday place, and a follow-up question could be, what time of the year do you most like to visit? Another example, the monologue is about the secondary education system in your country, and perhaps a follow-up question could be, how do you think the system will be different between the 21st century and the 22nd century? Okay, let's look at our tips. Number 1, make efficient use of any short period of preparation time that you have. This one applies to the monologue section we've just mentioned. You'll only have perhaps 30 seconds to 1 minute to prepare, so make sure you use the time wisely. Write down 3 or more points that will allow you to develop your thoughts and keep speaking, because many people say that the monologue is often the most difficult part because you're speaking just by yourself. For the favorite holiday question, you could write Greece, weather, beach, family, friends, hotel, and first visit and most recent, tell a story. These ideas should trigger thoughts in your mind to allow you to keep speaking. An advanced tip here is to maybe write down 3 or more questions that will allow you to develop your thoughts. For the same example about the Greece holiday, you could write, when did you first visit Greece? Why is it better than other countries you've visited? And what is your one favourite memory from your time in Greece? Now you could begin your monologue with something like this. Firstly, I'd like to say that Greece is my favourite holiday destination and I'll tell you about my first visit there. Secondly, I will explain why it's better than other countries I've visited. Finally, I will share my favourite memory from Greece. Try it. The monologue will go much quicker. Also, the examiner will know what you're going to talk about and in what order, so it makes it easier for them. Planning a few key ideas before you speak will allow you to speak more naturally and hopefully trigger more thoughts. Try it. Give it a go. Number 2, a brilliant tip from Agnesa. a current student much better than thinking in your native language. Learn to think in English so you don't have to translate every word that you say. Number 3, be yourself. Immerse yourself in the speaking as far as possible. Try to enjoy yourself and just get on with the questions. Number 4, Philip, a student, recommends speaking to foreigners, so you have no choice but to speak in English. He suggests online gaming, if that's your cup of tea. Number 5, challenge yourself that you will not stop talking until the examiner has told you to do so. That's a fantastic target to have. Give it a go. Number 6, imagine you're with your teacher, your classmates, your friends, or whoever you normally speak English with, and just do as you usually do. As 2 students, Anna and Rabia, put it, it's not your native language, so just be relaxed. And it's 10 times harder to speak when you're nervous. Number 7, don't shift your mindset just because it's an exam. I've been doing preparation for a lesson or 2 with my classes, and I've noticed that as soon as we start thinking about exams, they get nervous, they shift their focus. Don't do it. It's just usual. It's just the same as always. Number 8, Molly, a teacher, encourages students to demonstrate their level of speaking. Don't play it safe. Use certain phrases and structures as early as you can in the exam to let the examiner know your level. Often these questions are easier, so this is a good time to use these phrases and structures. Have the mentality that you know certain things, which you do, and you're going to show the examiner that. Number 9, and this seems obvious, answer the question. If you're asked to put things in order, put things in order. If you're asked to reach a decision, reach a decision. In the earlier example about communication, yes, it's useful to talk about all the different styles of communication, but you need to remember the question. The question was which will still be popular in 50 years. If you haven't answered it, as you approach the end of the time, make sure you summarize and answer the actual question. Number 10, tell stories, make them personal to you. Bring in reported speech when you do this. This is what you do in regular conversation. Think about how you talk to your friends and family. You tell stories. You say what other people said and did. You say how they made you feel. Do this in your English exam as well. For example, if I was telling you about my best holiday, this might be what I would say. How I hitchhiked from Eindhoven to Prague in 3 days. The crazy German driver who picked us up and drove at 240 kilometers an hour the whole time gave us a place to stay for free. The 24 hours where we travelled only 10 kilometers. The night when we randomly slept in a field beside the Autobahn, and many more things. Do the same. Tell stories, make them personal, enjoy the speaking. Number 11, again seems obvious. Listen carefully to what the examiner and any other candidates are saying and respond accordingly. Number 12, as Sally, an English teacher, says, don't just learn answers in Parrot fashion, but do anticipate the questions you may be asked and practice the answers. Number 13, ask the examiner or the other candidate to repeat something if you couldn't hear what they said or you didn't quite understand what they said. Again, it seems normal, but make sure you do it. Number 14, Kelly, my colleague, advises that you choose your answer, thoughts and direction and stick to it. This allows you not to lose focus and to keep speaking for longer, more fluently, more naturally. Number 15, don't panic when you make a mistake because you will. Either correct it quickly or just carry on speaking. Number 16, according to Mark, a teacher and a translator, use conditionals, especially second, third and mixed, depending on your level. Examiners absolutely love them. They're listening for them and they're actually much easier to hear and assess. So they can see if you're reaching the criteria. Number 17, warm yourself up before the exam by speaking to other classmates or candidates before it actually starts. Practice this in the days before your speaking exam as Agnes recommends. Surround yourself with spoken English, listen to an audiobook or a podcast, for example. I suggest watching series or listening to music or whatever it is you do that you actually enjoy, because then it doesn't feel like work and you're still learning English. It's the best of both worlds. If you're not doing this, you should do it. Number 18, make sure you know how to spell your first and second name. This is especially important if your native language doesn't use the Latin alphabet like English, perhaps the Cyrillic, the Arabic, or the Japanese alphabet. Number 19, use expressions to buy yourself important thinking time. I'm glad my fellow teacher Sally agrees. Try to learn a few phrases to buy yourself time to think about what it is that you want to say. Here's 3 suggestions. That's an interesting question. Well, let me give you my opinion. To consider this, I'm going to share 3 points. When doing any exam, it is essential to know how the exam is marked, the criteria. It's no different with an English speaking exam. Here are the sections you need to be aware of. Number 1, task achievement and coherence. In simple language, do the tasks, answer the questions, and make sure your speaking fits together in a natural and reasonable way. That's what coherence means. Number 2, accuracy and range of grammar and vocabulary. If you're sitting a C1 test, for example, you need to use C1 level vocabulary and grammar. If you use only intermediate grammar and vocabulary, even perfectly with no mistakes, you cannot pass a C1 test. Number 3, pronunciation, intonation, and fluency. If you're preparing for an English exam, watch this video. It has practical tips on reading, writing, listening, and use of English. It also has psychological strategies which help you with the most important tip of all from Valdemar. Don't worry too much.